Hey everyone, James Herbert here, and this tutorial will be showing my animation process using Paint.net, Layer Saver for Paint.net, Bulk Rename Utility, Hitfilm, and Windows Live Movie Maker. So without any further ado, let's get to it. First off, I used to duplicate each frame in order to have Hitfilm play it back in twos. But I've actually found a faster way to do this, which will be explained later in the video. Most of the time I already have an idea of what I want to animate, so I don't really need a sketch. But I have found that starting off by sketching out each frame gives much better results for me, at least. It can also help you catch any mistakes early on. When you're ready to move on to the second frame, lower the opacity of the first frame to about 90 to 96. Makes it easier to tell where you should be drawing. Another tip: try to anticipate what the next frame will look like as you animate. Although this sounds difficult, once you get used to it, it's not really that hard. This part takes a lot of time, so I'm going to speed up this part. Time to draw the final line art. You don't have to make the line art match the sketches 100%. You might also find things you don't want to put in the final line art. I found I didn't want to keep the sweat on this character. And I also added some lines under his eyes to make him look more focused. In this step, I usually draw line art even around areas that are going to be glowing. The problem with this is that later on it makes it harder to add a glow in Hitfilm without accidentally glowing areas that shouldn't be glowing. If you want, you can prevent it by drawing the line art for the glowing areas in layers separate from the main line art. Now to add color. First tip here: if you're not sure what colors to use, try looking for some anime screenshots to get an idea of what you want. Also, I almost never use jet black for anything except certain energy effects and the face of the characters in this scene, because if I want to change the color in either Paint.net or in Hitfilm Express, it would change the line art color as well, since it's black too. When you finish this part, save your file if you haven't yet. Finally, to export your animation layers so you can import them to Hitfilm, make sure all of the layers in the Paint.net file are visible. The settings I use for Layer Saver are as follows. For layer name format, I choose layer number. Image format is PNG. For name conflict resolution, I choose add number after. After this, you need to rename the files so Hitfilm can keep them in the proper order. Add 2 zeros to file names beginning from numbers 0 to 9, and 1 0 for file names starting from numbers 10 to 99. Any numbers above that don't need to be changed. Now open up Hitfilm, create a new project, and click on the Media tab. Hit the green button and then click Composite Shot and choose your settings. Next, click on where it says import or the arrow next to it and choose media to import single frames and image sequence for multiple frames. Then place the imported files on the timeline in the order you desire. Also set the paused resolution to 1/4 and the playback resolution to quick. For foreground objects, put them in the layers above the background objects. Now remember when I told you not to duplicate each frame earlier. Change the playback speed by clicking on one of the layers in the timeline and go to speed duration and set it to 50%. Much faster, right? Now I'll explain how I do camera movements. In order to do it, the background must be much larger than the composite shot properties. If it isn't, you can resize the background by scaling it in Hitfilm using the transform properties, but I don't recommend it. Camera movements can be done by going into the transform properties of the background layer. Click the circle next to where it says position to create a keyframe. Make sure that you're at the frame on the timeline where the background movement will begin. Next, move to the last frame where it will end, and move the position of the background layer by holding down the left mouse button, and then dragging to where you want the background to move to. You can undo keyframes by clicking on the circle again next to position. You can add more than 2 keyframes to do more advanced camera movement. You can also keyframe other properties such as scale properties. Next, I'll add a glow. The threshold settings define where the glow will go. The intensity is how bright, and the radius is how big the glow will be. I usually set the blend mode to add. You can duplicate the glow and change the settings to get a more pleasing effect. I also add a gradient to the character and background layers. Once you've finished, you can either export as a video file, or if you want to play with the timing of the animation, you can export an image sequence and import it into Windows Live Movie Maker. I'll show the part where I edit in Movie Maker, but I won't be explaining that part since it's pretty simple. Thanks for watching to the end. If you liked what you saw, you can like or subscribe. That's it for now. See you guys next time.